Join us for lively discussion about the A-State community. Each week, we'll meet with a variety of faculty, staff, and students to discuss all things Arkansas State University. Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, this is A-State Connections.
Hello everyone, welcome to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Easton John, ASU-TV station manager, filling in this week for Jonathan Reeves. Today we are talking about research at Arkansas State University. Joining me today is Vice Provost for Research, Innovation, and Discovery at Arkansas State, Dr. Travis Marsico. Thanks for joining me today, Dr. Marsico. How are we doing today?
Great, thanks Easton. I appreciate the invite. It's great to be here.
No problem. So we were talking a little bit off camera about your position, but tell the audience a little about what you do for Arkansas State University.
Okay, as the Chief Research Officer at A-State, my main mission is to grow research opportunities for faculty and students, making sure that everybody who wants to participate in some type of research activity or creative endeavor has that opportunity, and we look for funding sources for that work to be able to be conducted in order for us to make really important discoveries and innovations.
Opportunity. That's such a
yes.
It's such a important word. And so, how would you just describe opportunity within your position?
Sure. Well, I work with a really excellent staff in research and technology transfer who works directly with faculty members across campus, also students, in developing research proposals, making sure they're ready. We get funding from all different kinds of sponsors. Sometimes it's federal agencies like National Science Foundation, National Institutes of Health, and U.S. Department of Agriculture. Other times it's state agencies and other organizations. And so all of those different places that provide research funding have different rules on what the proposal needs to look like and what the budget is. We call that a proposal solicitation, and we are basically the folks who we're the experts and help people interpret those things and make sure they're submitting a quality proposal so that the work that they're putting forward is the most competitive it can be in a competitive funding environment, and so that the researchers here at A-State can successfully get their projects funded.
Awesome. So you have your team and you're sort of bouncing off ideas, but also you're working with a lot of different organizations for Arkansas State.
Yes.
So you're not just focused on one specific building for A-State.
That's right.
You're going all over the place.
Yes.
Making sure that you're having the right ideas, and you're making sure that your team is developing and making sure they're comfortable with each organization that you're working with. Am I getting that correct?
Absolutely, and we're always on the go across campus. I have meetings, basically all day, every day with professors and students all across campus, and like you said, in the different buildings. We don't focus on research in only one area. It's for the whole university. And I only mentioned too the research development part, but my office also has contract and agreement negotiation, a director for student research, Carrie Harris, and we also work in research compliance as well, which includes things like human ethics research or ethics when using human subjects research, and then also vertebrate animal research compliance as well, and export controls.
So on that note, tell us a little bit about Arkansas Biosciences Institution.
Sure.
And the work that you're doing.
Absolutely. So, the list of titles goes on and on. Mm-hmm. So I'm also the executive director of the Arkansas Biosciences Institute, which is a great honor. It was the first place I started working when I came here to Arkansas State in 2010. And the Arkansas Bioscience Institute building on A-State campus is one of 5 campus network across the state, and we work in collaboration with those other institutions to improve the agriculture agriculture, health outcomes, and livelihoods of people of Arkansas. And that includes all kinds of fascinating biosciences research, dealing with things like adjuvants or chemical compounds that assist chemotherapies in curing cancer, to improving rice production and grain quality in a changing climate, and all other kinds of bioscience research that has human health and agricultural implications. The researchers in the Biosciences Institute use molecular biology, artificial intelligence, direct greenhouse experiments, all kinds of different things.
That's awesome. So you're dealing with sort of making sure that the world is flowing, making sure that there's new things coming out, and just making sure you're constantly. What I'm hearing is you're constantly taking in information and making sure it's completely right 100% of the time.
Yeah, and there's are really interesting elements. One of the other aspects of the research office is technology transfer, which is commercializing ideas and inventions from basically a research lab environment into a commercial product that can be marketed. And we have the Catalyst Small Business Incubator also in the ABI, and Luna Acosta is the director of Catalyst and also our director for technology transfer. And we have 3 companies in there right now that are startups from former and current faculty members here at A-State that have created a business around their inventions.
Wow, that's crazy. I mean, and that's great to see Arkansas State, being that foundation and just building that up, right? And so let's sort of, switch gears on the research designation and what that means to sort of to you.
Yeah, so we are classified by the Carnegie classification system as a Research 2 institution, which is a university with high research activity. And basically the formula involves a bunch of different factors, but the main ones are research and development expenditures. So how much money are we spending as an institution on research and development? Currently, we're around $8.5 million a year, and my main charge is to grow that, to make sure that faculty and students have additional funding and access to conduct their research. So we're trying to grow that really fast, actually. And then the other main metric is how many research doctoral degrees are awarded. And we have quite a few doctoral degrees on campus. Some are professional degrees, but the research ones are environmental sciences, molecular biosciences, heritage studies, and educational leadership. And across those 4 degree programs, the enrollment is going up. And so we are, at least in some time horizon, maybe 10 or 15 years, we're looking at where we could be reclassified as a Research 1 institution, which is a university with very high research activity. And that's what I'm excited to see.
So yeah, I mean, you just answered my next question about what are some research that's going on at Arkansas State.
Sure.
So what are some like ones that have impacted you, and in the sense of wow, this is very interesting, and I really need to get this information in.
Sure. Well, of course, I expected a question like this, and I have a list. I'm really wanting to highlight the variety of research that happens at Arkansas State. So one, I'm most familiar with the research in my own research lab, so I'll start with that. We study the predicting and preventing potential invasive species that might be introduced to the United States through global shipping. And so that's something that my graduate students and I are working on right now. So that's obviously in the biological sciences. But we have Miss Claire Abernathy. She's a professor in the theater department, and she is about to take a research sabbatical in this coming fall semester, where she is going to be working in costume technology. She's a costume designer and works in theater production here, and she, as part of her sabbatical, the projects she's working on are professional development for herself on particular materials like denim and leather and latex in costumes, and how she can learn more about that to bring increase production quality to Arkansas State and the training of the students. So that's a huge range there.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
do you feel like there is a sense of urgency whenever you are
Yes.
whenever you're taking on a new project?
Yes. I mean, one of the things is universities are basically the foundation for where discoveries and innovations are made. And there's a huge urgency for all kinds of research right now because of how fast the world is changing. You think about research on agricultural production, sustainability, and kind of really applied aspects that require us to move quickly and develop quickly. I mean, the emergence of everyday artificial intelligence is happening so fast. So how do we develop that further and at the same time catch our minds up to interpreting what it can do for our world and how fast it's changing? So yeah, there's an incredible amount of urgency to solve the vexing problems of society today.
Right, and so you're having to take in all that new information and making sure you're keeping up to date with all the new things that are changing around with AI. So my next question is, I understand that you're interested in growing research.
Yes.
And that would be interdisciplinary about that.
Oh, yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about
Absolutely. So to solve the problems that I just mentioned in society today, it requires expertise from different fields of study. And so that's what I mean when I say interdisciplinary research, and it's probably my top main mission for research growth at A-State. And an example would be there's a project proposal being developed from the Institute for Rural Initiatives here at A-State that is a collaboration between political science, public health, agriculture, business, and chemistry on figuring out how we can take agricultural waste products from agricultural industries around this area and educate students across those fields to develop those waste products into usable and marketable products instead that can improve human health and well-being in the area while also creating economic development opportunities.
Wow, so you have a lot on your plate.
Yes.
I mean, wow. I mean, it's so interesting to know just about your career and what goes into it. I mean, you see the title and you get your 2 cents about you're just researching. No, you're working as a team. You're making sure that you are constantly developing and constantly learning. Still, as an adult, you're
of course.
still
Yeah.
learning.
Well, and that's the thing about working at and being part of a university. I mean, my number one mantra is being a lifelong learner, right? I mean, we're here and learning every day. To your point, though, in this job, there is no opportunity to get bored.
Right, exactly.
It's full throttle all the time, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, that is awesome. But we're going to have to take a quick break. Dr. Travis Marsico is the Vice Provost for Research, Innovation, and Discovery at Arkansas State. He is joining me for this edition of A-State Connections. We will be taking a short break. We'll be right back.
When you say experience counts, it's experience that counts for a lifetime.
Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it, quitting was never an option. Exhausted, this passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it. Quitting was never an option. And you cannot stop it, nah, you cannot stop it.
I think one of the things I learned at Arkansas State was life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it, and that's just something that I live by.
A-State is home, and they're going to treat you like you're a part of the family.
Live from the ASU-TV studios in the School of Media and Journalism, This is A-State Connections.
Welcome back to A-State Connections on ASU-TV. I'm Easton John. Today we're continuing our conversation about research at Arkansas State with Dr. Travis Marsico. Thanks for joining me again, Dr. Marsico. So you were a little bit anxious at the break to sort of tell us more about the research that you've been doing. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about
Sure.
what you've been doing?
Yeah, I want to highlight some of the researchers on campus who have had some recent successes. So one example is Dr. Drew Sweet in biology. He is the leader of a new project that was just funded by the National Science Foundation in collaboration with folks at the University of Illinois and Purdue University. And his project is a great example of what we call basic science, and which helps us understand how life works, for example. And his project is using parasitic lice and their cellular organelles, mitochondria, and the genomes of the mitochondria to understand the mechanisms of evolution across parasites. And so, we think, how does that mean things to us? I mean, in the broadest sense, that kind of evolutionary study helps us understand the mechanisms of how life changes on Earth, and kind of gives us a sense of understanding of how we fit into that as well. So that's an example of a project that was just funded and competitive, of course, at the national level for us to be able to receive that award here, and for him to be able to conduct that work that allows him to hire researchers and work with graduate students and undergraduate students, learning skills and gaining understanding in his laboratory.
All right, and speaking of graduate students, how are the faculty, how are they getting students involved with your sort of field?
Absolutely. Well, across all fields, one of the great things about Arkansas State is its size and the commitment that the faculty members have to working directly with students. I mean, I would even say, just like this ASU-TV studio and program, it's pretty new to me, and I'm seeing the facilities from this angle for the first time, and it's exciting to see students involved directly in professional development. Like, this is obviously out of classroom learning, and that is what professors across the university have always done and been good at. And so back to like, why do we want to keep increasing research funding to the institution, is additional funding for research allows more students to get involved and gain those valuable professional experiences that help them build all of the necessary skills: critical thinking, problem solving, working in a simulated real environment for work, and that sort of thing. And
students, they're coming every day to learn, and they're making sure that they're taking in the information from the professionals. So have you seen Arkansas State students develop, and what have you noticed about some of our students? Yeah,
of course, and not just that. The students are also making their own discoveries. I mean, especially when we're thinking, and not just at the graduate student level, although I'll say, graduate students already have the fundamentals by having an undergraduate degree, and so maybe they can get to their own discoveries faster. But we have undergraduate students working in research labs that are making genuine and real discoveries every day. And so I think student involvement isn't just to benefit the students, but having students with their new ideas and new perspectives in a research project actually advances the research even faster.
Right, and so in your sort of field, you guys created the Create at A-State sort of little, what would you call it?
Well, it's a research symposium on campus, and we're actually keeping the name Create at State, but we're revamping it as a celebration for research on campus. We're actually in our 14th year already, wow. And so this is the 14th Create at State. It's going to happen on April 18th, and it's an opportunity for students to showcase their discoveries and what they've been working on across all fields of study. There's a creative activities or creative endeavors element where we'll hear from musicians on campus, and students from all fields or all departments will be presenting posters on the research they've been working on. And then we are also going to have a party at the end, or like an actual student celebration of research at A-State, and we're really excited about that. It's important because for many students, this is the first time they've publicly presented their own work to an audience that they don't necessarily know, and so it's building that skill of communication about the research that they've been doing.
Right, and it's also from my perspective, it's sort of a networking,
Absolutely.
event, and getting to know all these different people, possibly getting to know other people in the field, and especially people of great talent, just like yourself in the field, and just making sure you're making those connections for your future career. Right?
Yeah, thank you. Right? I think that's great. The idea of having a professional research meeting on campus is exactly that, for folks to engage over topics and ideas that gets back to our crossing disciplines discussion. Maybe they hadn't realized someone else on campus was doing something so relevant or similar to what their interests are, and the professional networking opportunities might allow, just through the interactions at that meeting, for a new research collaboration to develop.
Right. And so how do people get more information about the research opportunities?
Sure. I mean, some of the ways are, if you go to the A-State homepage and use the A-State search bar, type RTT, that's Research and Technology Transfer, but just that acronym RTT will take you directly to our website. You could do the same with ABI, the Arkansas Biosciences Institute. That'll take you directly to that website. And you can get some information there. If you want to reach out with questions because you're not finding what you need on the website, you can always email research@astate.edu. And then for faculty members in particular, we currently have a survey that's open right now for how our office can help engage you in research. So that's open through February 22nd, and it's gone out on the faculty listserv every Monday and on the Daily Digest every Wednesday. So we have one more week to complete the survey for how our office can help engage you in research. And we encourage people to fill that out.
Right. So you're creating surveys as well, and you're
Yes.
and you're reaching out to just not just students but also faculty. Say, hey, what can we do differently? So what is this survey sort of? If you had to give a teaser for the faculty.
Sure.
What this
of course.
survey is.
This survey is a way for faculty members to describe what their research interests are so that we can build that into our research database, which will help us connect potential collaborators. It's also a place for self-identifying as somebody who views their work in from the research lens or the creative endeavors lens. We have opportunities through the survey to connect with our Executive Director for Research, Ashley Pinkard, who is our leader for research development, and also our Director for Student Research, who I've mentioned already before, Carrie Harris. If you want to get involved with student research opportunities, the survey kind of guides through a list of questions, short list of questions. I should also mention it's a very short survey, so very easy to take. Everyone should do it.
Yeah, so it's not gonna
Yes.
stress you out.
Yeah,
you're not gonna get like a 50.
just a few minutes. Yeah, just a few minutes to help us figure out how we can better collaborate and work with people who are interested in getting involved.
Right, and so who has been sort of like your favorite, people to collaborate with, and why, because like.
Yeah, that's a great question. Like we've already mentioned, I really love learning new things. So getting outside of my own comfort zone as a botanist and biological scientist, I've been working really closely with folks in the College of Education right now, and especially when I interact with people from art and design. I love that because it's just so far outside of my range of expertise, and so that really helps me think creatively about how we can work on research proposals and collaborations together. Not me, like my own research lab as much as across the institution I'm talking about, but I think that those are exciting. Of course, people who come already with really great grant writing skills, that just makes them easier to work with, but then there's also the opportunity to work with people who have never written a grant before, and that's exciting because it, you know, helping somebody develop from a professional who has lots of great experiences and ideas but has not put that to paper to convince someone else that it's a great idea worth funding. I find that to be a great excitement part of my job, because it's like we can take that idea that someone usually can speak about it easier than write it down, and through a conversation we can build a list of points that we would want to convey to a sponsor who would fund that idea.
Right. So what I'm hearing is you like a challenge. And
Oh yeah,
you'll go for
absolutely.
any challenge. So in your position, what are the goals that you have, or the faculty or your team have for next year?
Yeah, so we are really active. I started this job in June of 2023 and was really in place kind of full-time in a permanent role by mid-August. And so I would say that August through December of last year was a lot of me learning kind of like, I guess you say like the lay of the land, or, you know, figuring out what all the facets of the position were, understanding the university budgets, you know, all kinds of things like that. And so then in 2024, starting, you know, right away, we hit the ground running. We're submitting more proposals than we have. We're engaging new researchers. So I would say back to that main focus on interdisciplinary research, really highlighting how people from different fields can work together successfully and make new discoveries through that work. And then I would say really focusing on celebrating the successes we have is a big one of 2024. And then also I want to mention that the ABI building, the Arkansas Biosciences Institute building, will be celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. We're going to have host the statewide ABI symposium on September 18th and 19th. And on September 18th, we're hosting a huge party and inviting all of the people who have worked in that building since the beginning to come and celebrate with us for 20 years of successes out of ABI.
That's awesome. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I'm glad you got that in, because that's important information. That'll do it for this edition for A-State Connections. I want to thank my guest, Dr. Travis Marsico, for joining me on A-State Connections. I also want to thank the creative media team as well as Mr. Sullivan's amazing students who are behind the scenes running today's show. Also, thank you to Jacob Keene and Timmy Arquette. And so thank you for watching A-State Connections. Thank you for joining me. So long, everyone.